if someone's standing in your personal space, you start edging back in a bit, unless they've got a personal hygiene problem, is the aura that you're interacting with. An aura on a person is at its strongest around your head. So if I've been looking intently above your head tonight, it's not because you've got an infestation of lips or a bad hairdo on the go, it's just that it looks like Marge Simpson here, and all I'm doing is I'm looking at the colours, and I'm basically, them upstairs, I'll come on to them as well, are telling me what to tell you. An aura is basically electromagnetic fields that go around your body that reflect personality, skills, abilities, things you've been through, but mainly things that are coming up as well. I've been seeing auras since I was about 9 years old. I've learned the different combination of colours mean different things, and different formations, like cloud formations, mean different things as well. I also work, they're coming, I'm joking, I've been doing that all night. Right above your head, Mandy. I also work clairvoyantly. Clairvoyance is a French word meaning clear seeing. In my mind's eye, I see pictures and thoughts that aren't my own. So if I was to say to you, think of a black cat, or your front door, or your car or something, you're going to have a picture in your head that wasn't there a minute ago. And all I do, it's called mental mediumship, and trust me, it's enough to drive around the twist sometimes, as I'm describing what I'm seeing in my mind's eye. Sometimes when I'm looking at people, apart from the aura, little icons appear, or I'm literally seeing people from upstairs standing right next to you as well. So that's clairvoyance. And I use the clairvoyance to revisit the past, look at what's going on now, and also go into the future. It's a bit like a walking time machine, really. I also work a little bit clairaudiently. Clairaudience is a French word meaning clear hearing. To my right-hand side, I hear very, very faint whispers. I might turn myself down a little bit. I'll tell you what. To my right-hand side, I hear very faint whispers. It's not like I've got a booming telegram from God going on. Names, for instance, can be quite faint. So something like Kelly could sound like Ellie or Shelley, or John could be Tom or Ron. It's a very much it sounds like. And all I do is I pass on what I'm hearing. I'm mainly clairvoyant, so I see better than I hear. This probably applies to real life as well, but there we are. I see better than I hear, and I'm telling you what they're saying. I say they're saying this and they're saying that. It's like watching a storyboard, and occasionally I get very faint whispers here. I also work clairsentience, and everybody in this room has had clairsentience. Clairsentience is a French word meaning clear feeling, and I use this part of the body, of which there is plenty these days, so much for being a medium, more like an extra large. This part of the body to project how far forward in time an event is going to occur, or how far back in time an event actually happened. It's called your gut feeling, your gut instinct. So if ever you've said, I've got a funny feeling about this person or that situation, or I'm going to just drive home that way tonight rather than that way, is you're basing something you don't know on your gut feeling and your gut instinct. And your gut instinct, or clairsentience, a sixth sense, which I think is accessible to all of us, it's not reserved to select few. It's a bit like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it will get. So if ever you've said, I've got a funny feeling about blah, 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 and only to find out it was true, or our logical head clicks in and we think, no, I'm being silly, only to find out you were right after all, that's basically your sixth sense. Went for air for a minute. I've been doing this 20 years, I still get nervous. Especially at a new venue. Anyway, so the very nature of psychic messages, whether it's on a one-to-one reading or group demonstration or whatever, is that what is said during the course of that psychic message, i.e. the future, will probably make no sense to you whatsoever because it hasn't happened yet. I'm actually living evidence of this. I remember seeing a tarot reader in 1999. He said to me, "You'll work for yourself." I said, "No, I won't. I'll be in the police service for 30 years because that's what I was doing at the time." He then said, "You'll get married." I said, "No, I won't. Everyone in my family has got married and divorced. I've now done it twice." He said, "You'll have children." I said, "You're definitely getting confused with my sister. I'm a career person. I have 3 boys of my own and 3 stepchildren as well." But at the time I thought, what a waste of money. I'm not going to bother seeing him again. Here I am working for myself, etc. The rest is history. So just because a psychic says X, Y, and Z is going to happen doesn't necessarily mean it will. I do believe in free will. And so the whole idea when I'm doing one-to-ones or demonstrations is that the whole idea of a psychic reading is that you put the roof on before it rains. If I see that someone's going to rip you off with a dodgy business proposal or something else going on, that you can avoid, then yes, I will say. We're not in the business of scaring people though. Although I believe in free will, I do think that our lives are mapped out to us to a certain extent. If I hadn't met my first husband, I wouldn't be a medium, because it literally happened overnight like that. I thought I was going crazy. I went down to the doctors and said, I'm seeing hearing dead people and they're telling me things. Here, have some Prozac and Valium, that will sort you out. But so that was, if I'd met him, I wouldn't be a medium, because his grandmother sparked it all off literally overnight. I used it in the police service, and I've got 6 accommodations in 5 years service, to the point where my sergeant said, have you got an unregistered informant? But anyway, if I hadn't been in the police, where you have to describe for court evidence someone's height, build, marks, scars, tattoos, the car they drove, the house they lived in, the state of the crime, what you can see, what you can hear, then it's pretty useful training for this. Prior to that, I was a university lecturer. And if I hadn't done that, maybe I wouldn't be able to stand up, even though I'm more scared of this and that, in front of people and teach psychic development courses. So I think things happen for a reason. With the mediumship side, a medium is someone that can communicate with your friends, relations and pets, no longer here in person. It is extremely unlikely that you're going to see them appear right before your eyes tonight. If something dodgy happens and you see me running, try to keep up. On that note, what I remember, if I spontaneously self-combust or they'll catch fire on the candles, many of which burn at the stake, the fire exits that way or this way. You will get your spirits without qualifiers you behind the bar in the break. Just turn myself down a bit. Hold on. I think what I need to do is put it backwards. Well, we'll sort it out, just takes a bit of fiddling around. And if things get really scary, the toilets are through that door, or there's some upstairs as well, and hang a right. So the mediumship side is a bit odd. The way I describe it is, people talk about them coming through. Like I said, you're not going to see ghosts and apparitions. It's unlikely, put it that way, highly unlikely. It's called mental mediumship. In my head, I see pictures and thoughts, like this is like the psychic side, and sometimes when I'm literally looking at people, I'm seeing them as well. With the mediumship side, it's not like they follow me around. It might look like I've got a crematorium on terror of me, but trust me, it's not like they're all circling around some kind of God's armpit. Oh, what should we do tonight? I know, there's a gig on down at the Winchcombe Conservative Working. Let's all hang out there and there. And as lovely as this place is, they don't sit there twiddling their thumbs at the bar waiting to get served either. You bring them here with you, and when you go home tonight, they go home with you. They don't follow me around. That's not the intention anyway. When mediums talk about them coming through, they're not really coming through air vents or walls or through ectoplasm via me. They mean communicate in a way that you would understand who I'm talking about. I don't do vagueness. Oh, there's a little lady here that loves you very much. Oh, I can think of one of those. Well, you've been working terribly hard. Well, guess what? Me too. A good psychic medium should give you something, ideally, I can't make them talk, but ideally specific, so that you know that it's definitely them. Hold on a minute. This man's doing my head in. I'm trying to talk to you, and they're all piling in at the same time. Something specific, so that you know exactly who it is. In an ideal world, they say things like, oh, my name's Marjorie Matthews, I'm Julie's paternal grandmother, and she used to see me every day after school. Well, in the 30-odd years she's been dead, she's only turned up once, and that was to say the budgie hasn't shut up talking. So try to keep an open mind to the mediumship side, because they do come through in strange order. It's a bit like going to a family gathering. The first person you see or hear from or at the party isn't necessarily who you want to see the most during the course of the evening, but if you acknowledge who is there first, then the others turn up. I can't make them come through any more than, unless you're the designated driver or is to keep the other half quiet, no one can make you come here either. You can only put out your thoughts and intentions and see what happens. I will give you the opportunity to ask questions, obviously about either them or for your personal life or whatever's going on, whatever you want to know about when I'm going to get a new job or change my car or all that kind of stuff. So start thinking now if you've got any questions that you want to ask for yourself or for them, because I never remember anything. The reason being is that a medium does what it says on the tin. We're a bridge between this world and the next. Have your friends and relations going blah, blah, blah. I'm the phone line, there's a German Shepherd dog sat right there. I'm the phone line and you're on the receiving end. To help get the most out of your message, and I will get to as many, there's no way I'm going to get around everybody tonight, but I will try to get to as many as groups of people as I can, so it's sort of spread out while we're all in one direction. I don't have a great deal of control over it, but I can give it my best shot. It's a bit like a demonstration. This is a demonstration of, not like a guaranteed message. But to get the most out of your message tonight, it does help if you can give me an audible yes, no, or don't know reply. Because without wanting to get into metaphysics and all the rest of it, we're working on energy and vibrations, and they need to hear your voice. It's a bit like making a phone call in this lifetime. The person on the other end isn't saying a great deal. You tend to think there's nobody there and hang up. Please don't say yes to be helpful. Please don't say yes to be helpful. If what I'm saying to you doesn't make sense, there's no point saying yes. So sometimes, especially when I haven't worked in a place before, it takes me a while to get myself sorted. If you say no to test me, that's fine. If I wanted to talk to the converted few, I'd work exclusively in spiritualist churches. And if you don't know, say I don't know. In any case, a good psychic medium should give you a message of something that you don't know, so you can go away and verify the information and find out if it was true or not. Because that rules out this whole idea that we are reading body language or doing some kind of mental trick, and the day I need to cheat is the day I'm going to get a normal job like everybody else. So if you want to know where the family silver stash, where the key to shed is, next week's lottery numbers, start thinking now. Please don't come up to me at the end when I'm about to turn into a pumpkin, because one, we have to leave, and also it's hard to pick back up leads that I had once I've sort of said goodbye and cut the link and all the rest of it. If you have a mobile phone on, that is no problem, but please don't have a massive long conversation with your neighbour or a long lost lover, because any background noise, even this thing, so I'll have to sort it out in a second, can be a little bit off-putting because it brings me back down to earth. Right, finally, I do not follow any religion, sect, cult or belief, nor am I opposed to any. I say to people, take out of this evening what makes sense to you and throw away the rest. Legally, this is the where it gets really interesting, legally, all psychics, mediums and healers have to say we have to be seen as a form of entertainment, the results of which cannot be guaranteed. This is because the last Witchcraft Act of 1752 was replaced by the Fraudulent Medium Act of 1951, still memory law, which all psychics mediums would have to be seen as a form of entertainment, or if they're charging money. Now, unfortunately, Barclays Bank and BP petrol station don't see my work in the same charitable way, which is why I take some of the money from tonight because I pay for advertising, paper, petrol, and all the rest of it. And then obviously we'll work out exactly how much has been raised for the Winchcombe Poppy Appeal as well. But that's why there isn't a charge on the door. However, we now come under the Consumer Protection Regulations Act, whereby, wait for it, if you're vulnerable, gullible, or of a nervous disposition, you should have a second opinion about whether this evening is suitable for you. And if you think it's not, feel free to have a refund now and leave it to go see the big idiot at the back. Feel free to have a refund now and leave if you wish. And my answer to that is a couple of things. One, if you weren't vulnerable, gullible, or of a nervous disposition before you came in tonight, you probably will be by the time you leave. And I wish the Reverend at my first wedding couldn't guarantee that that was going to work out, because you don't get legal disclaimers at the end of songs of praise, do you? But anyway, okay. One last thing, I don't take myself seriously. I take what I do seriously, but not myself. So you are in for a light-hearted night. I don't make a fantastic deal of eye contact with people when I'm working, because I'm using the third eye, the sixth sense, which is located here. Apart from when I'm looking at auras with these eyes, it's mainly the third eye. And that, for records, a piece of spirit quartz is a bit like a comfort rack. So fasten your seatbelts, hold on to your hats, and enjoy your very own ghost story. Right then, okay. Okay, right. I'm going to have to start with her, I think. She's trying to be insane. Well, I'm already crazy anyway. Should be a job angel Psychotic Readings by John Angel Ghost. Now, by the way, Angel is my middle name. I'm not so pompous as to give myself Angel, but middle name Angel should be Hell's Angel, really. But anyway, I'm being drawn, and I'm quite tempted to start with this lady that's got the navy blue on. I'm quite tempted because I was scribbling down at the start, and I've made notes. If you can read my handwriting, you're doing well. You can have a piece of paper, it's obviously no good to me. And I believe I'm either with you or in this area, so stay tuned, please. I was writing away about other people that I've picked up on already, and there's a lady here who I'd say is presented, if I'm 5 foot, probably 8 or 9 with these on, I'd say she's probably about 5'4", maybe a bit smaller than that, about there, I'd say. And she's got like a honey-coloured hair that looks to me as though she probably would have had it put in rollers to get the kind of curled effect that she's got. She's given me a beaming smile with a lovely set of pearls, as in white, false teeth. Her eyes are more blue rather than brown, green or hazel, as I'm seeing her now. And she's my kind of build. She's more top heavy rather than bottom heavy. The thing that stood out the most though is that, well not the most, but one of the things that stood out is she caught my attention because I got the very strong smell of disinfectant, and she was mopping a floor. And I believe this lady, and stay tuned just in case I'm with someone else, please. I believe this lady was a cleaner by profession, and more than likely in a public building like a training school or a school or a hospital or some other kind of commercial environment is what I'm trying to get at, rather than private homes. She mentioned that she had all my back, and she was rubbing her lower back. Now that could be that there was a lower back problem. I don't think it's kidneys. I think it is her lower back was aching, and she also complained about her hip. That I didn't get the feeling of a hip replacement. This lady had an infectious laugh. She's saying laugh. Okay, laugh then, rather laugh. And she said, "Isn't it lovely to come back and say hello?" And she must have been, I believe, yeah, okay. She says, "I have been through before." Says ladies made contact before. She says, tell them about my ring. The person I'm linking to would recall a gold wedding ring that's got a crisscross pattern on it. It's not a plain gold band, and it's probably about that thick. It's not massive, but it's that thick. I don't want to give the names yet because people latch onto the names rather than the description, and that was it, yeah. And she's also talks, I mean, she's making me out of puffers and hard to keep up with her, but she's given me a somewhat a respiratory, a respiratory condition. She says, tell them I'm with Dot, who I think is Dorothy, okay? So that's obviously a friend of hers or other person's spirit side that she's with. Can you place this at the moment, please? Does anyone recognise the description of this lady? She's saying, tell them I also was a carer. Can you place this now? The name I wrote, I won't say the name I wrote down, but can you recall this lady who worked in care as well, but she was a cleaner as well, and she had infectious laugh as well. Her hair colour and style isn't too dissimilar to yours as I'm seeing her at the moment. She goes, but I would have had to have my glasses on a chain because I always forgot what I'd done with them. I have no idea why she's wanting to hand you a tin. It's like a sweets tin, but there's custard cream biscuits in it and rich tea biscuits in it. And she says, go and have a cuppa on me. Would you be She says, I'm looking after this dog for you. This is who's had this dog that was a terrier years ago? Is that you Jack Russell? I don't know what Jack Russell? That's a dog home, Jack Russell speaking. Anyway, she said, I'm looking after this dog for you. Okay, so sorry, Paul said to me, don't forget to mention what happens when you're going quiet. When I shut up for once in my life, it's because I'm talking telepathically to them or interpreting or asking for clarification on what they mean. She's just said, and this is where the legal disclaimer comes in, she just said that she showed me a scanner, okay, one of those tube ones that you have to lie down and go in and feel like you're going to take off and land in space or something. She showed me a scanner, and whoever it is on the, when I say the Earth plane, people alive, whoever it is that's got to go for a scan, it's okay. Now they wouldn't say that if it wasn't going to be okay. It's like an MRI, I don't know, a CAT scan. She's just showing a scanner. Just tell them it's okay. It's not you, I don't believe, but it's someone that you know of, and I believe it's a female. She's not going into too much detail, but tell them it's okay. What I wrote down though was, oh nice, that's right. I wrote down Jean. Okay. Okay, I wrote down Jean. It's on this piece of paper here. In fact, there we go. I put Jean first. I thought sometimes it's a name like Jean Joan Joyce. Laugh a minute, cleaning by profession in the public sector, about 5'4", larger size, false teeth, blue eyes, lower back problem, bit of a, oh yeah. And when I was writing it away, she said, I just popped off. It's a bit of a country accent that came in. There's a bit of a twang going on there. Oh, and I've got to tell you about a locket. Where's my locket? Where's my locket? She's done about a locket. I'll come on to that. But she also showed me Blackpool Tower in my head. I'm asking her, did you like dancing? She goes, no, but I like watching Strictly Come Dancing. So I loved her fish and chips. Oh yeah, and then, sorry, because I don't write it down, I forget, because it's not coming from my memory. She says, tell her I'm with my brother now. This man, well, she's with a man who her brother would have been in the Navy, because I saw a battleship. Oh, and the other thing is, she said, and by the way, tell you, my eye is better, because I think I got a shadow going across one eye. So whether this is cataracts, glaucoma, or something along those lines, I feel I can't see very well. And the great thing about being on the other side is that you don't get physical ailments anymore. That's again another form of clairsentience. I'm sure you've got loads of things you want to ask, but is there anything you want to ask at the moment?
Not long since she's passed, and it's involving all the family.
Oh, sorry.
Exactly what you said.
Okay.
No, we lost her not long ago.
Well, she's come back, she's enjoying herself. It's great over there. We don't have floods, and can we go on Monday? Can I get that tonight? Well, she's very eufy, no. But no, she's full of beans, absolutely full of beans, this lady, and she's obviously here tonight because she knows people are missing her. It's a very sensitive time of year, right over the lead up to Christmas as well. Comes with a lot of love, a lot of laughter. She just wants you to all enjoy yourself. And this isn't her quote, this is me talking now. One of the things one of them upstairs said once, I think it was in Worcester, they said, enjoy every memory because that's all we have at the end. Can't keep all this stuff. So probably what she's saying, go to Blackpool, do this, have a cup of tea and a biscuit. Hold on, is none of the fact, she's going back to this locket again.
She's lost it.
It wasn't on, because this is a locket, now there should be pictures in there.
Well, it was a J.
Okay, this locket. Right. She said, where's my locket? They're just not bothered about possessions, but what they do is that what I ask at the start when I'm writing like an idiot over there, I'm saying, can you tell them something only they would know? So there's nothing that, because people think, oh, she could have done research on Facebook and done this.
The fish and chips, the brother, everything's spot on.
Oh, brilliant. Well, I'm glad she's the one that's doing the work, but
Yeah.
that's nice. Thank you for, because as you can imagine, I'm standing here talking about something I know nothing about.
No, it's all spot on.
So that's lovely. I'll give you that anyway. You can read my writing, you're doing well. She doesn't want to go now. I was just about to have a sip of my drink and she goes, she's laughing and said, you didn't put my false teeth in, didn't you? It's all about being laid to rest. Let's look at this lady with the leopard skin on. Did you put photographs in with her?
I've got her photo on my
Don't tell me too much. Okay, don't feed the medium. Okay. She doesn't want to go, but she's going to have to let other people have to say as well, bless her. This Jack Russell, is that hers or one of yours? Yours. Because this thing is, did it ever sit still? It's absolutely, I feel like I've got this thing jumping up in front of me, trying to get, snapping in its jaws, trying to get my attention and stuff. It's absolutely crazy. No, that's the name of the charity. And then you didn't have a pet called Poppy as well? Okay, right, I'll come back to that. I'll leave a love review if I can break through. Now, I'm beginning to wonder. I've met Mandy once, twice. Met you at the Worcester Country Park thing or whatever it was called. And I met you in Melbourne to have a coffee and talk about doing events and charity events and stuff. And apart from that, and I know you worked for the Poppy Appeal or whatever. Apart from that, I don't know anything. I'm not sure if this is for you or not, but I will say, just so people don't think I've planted you in the audience or do anything like that, I did hear you say to Paul that you lost your husband. Right. Now, I'm not saying this is him, but stay tuned just in case. And I know the chances are, because of the nature of the charity and because a lot of people with national service and whatnot, there could be lots of people who've got links to the armed forces and probably know somebody upstairs that's been in the armed forces, but there's a man that, when I was having a bit of battle airtime of who to start with, I can see who is probably about 5'10", 5'11". I don't think he's quite a 6-footer. He's shorter than that. And he's got very short silver grey hair. He did have a bit of a moustache at one. His hair's, it was like cut, brushed forward really short. He did have a bit of a tash at one time, but I think he may have, you know, people change their hair and they change their facial hair and all sorts of stuff. I don't want to get to my age, but anyway. And he had sort of blue eyes. He's built an extremely athletic build. Yes, he is a soldier, or was more to the point. I got the Bergen on, the good old rucksack, and I feel like I go and run 10 miles and it'd be like water off a duck's back. I say, hold on, now you're confusing me. I was about to say soldier, but then I'm literally on my stomach doing what feels like more like a marine commando course amongst all the mud and the water. It's okay. You need to tell me, please. I keep seeing, that's definitely Creden Hill. I keep seeing the SAS emblem. I'm not convinced he was in the Special Forces, and even if he was, he probably wouldn't say. But I recognise Creden Hill camp, SAS camp, because I used to be based in Hereford when I was in the old Bill. He doesn't want to go on too much about how he came to be on the other side. I don't want to go into detail about that, but let's put it this way, it was sudden. And I can also hear I can say, how do I word this? I've got pain in my chest, and it sounds like an explosion as well. That looks like a heart, but it's not. I'll have to draw that. Show me show me like a tattoo. That it's unusual, but I'm not convinced it was actually there. What do you mean? No, I don't. Okay. I put him. He feels as though he'd be in his 30s. might well have made it into his 40. I wouldn't have put him much past 43, 44, based on his appearance, his physique, and his fitness. He had quite a deep voice, but he loved animals. I'm stroking a spaniel, a ginger and white spaniel, the ones with the floppy ears. I'm actually hoping it's a dog breed, but anyway. And I think that's more about he loved dogs, even, as one of his things. And he's coming in when they give me a love link. This is usually a husband or partner or fiance or on a love connection. I did write down some names earlier on, but I'll leave those. Does that sound familiar? Okay, who am I with, please? Even if it's not a love connection, but this man that was shot. He's in the, this was the, he must have been infantry, must have been, so I'm like on front line. Somebody must know him, or know of him. I forgot to mention as well, I sometimes get gate crashes that people introduce other people. He says, yes, I'm still this side of the room. Yes, they do, because they also showed me the lights for Pontrialis, which I know is an army base, wherever it is, Pontrialis. It's this side. Two other things. I did write them down. I'll give the name Steve, so that the person I'm meant to be linking to will understand or have a connection to the name Steve. And I did hear David as well, David. And the other thing I heard is that they're now saying Debbie. Maybe just come to be nosy. Sometimes we get gate crashes, don't we? It's definitely somebody for a message. Don't be afraid to put your hand up, because if you ask me in the break or at the end, I won't have a clue. He said they've had to sell a car recently. There's a car being sold or recently gone. It's like a midnight. It's almost like a denim blue jean colour car. Definitely linking in here. All right then. Okay. Can I come to the chap in the rugby top? Because I did actually write some stuff down for you anyway. Is that okay, please? Well, not rugby top. The stripy jumper on. Yes. When I look above your head, ignore all that was said. If it's, but I just said to this chap, it said, "Where am I going?" He goes, "Try the chap in the middle." So sorry, but you've copped it. So it's okay for me to link to you. Above your head, there are cogs in your aura, which I see around people that've got quite an engineering mind and attention to detail. There's a man with you who's obviously on the other side. He's coming in, and the first thing he showed me when I was scribbling away, I don't know if I had a chance to write it down. He kept showing me a grandfather clock, and I think there's a double meaning there. He could be coming in on a grandfather link, or he was good at. I literally felt like I was taking out the insides of the clock and been able to twiddle with it to get the weights balanced, or to be able to fix the clock. He says lots of things. He made reference, if this doesn't make sense tonight, it will do. He showed me a large bungalow from the outside, and if I didn't know better, I'd say there's a conservatory on the back of this bungalow or at the side. I can see glass out the corner of my eye, and he's telling the lady next to you, "Don't worry, you'll get your it's just showing me one of those range cookers, you know, it's got all the bits of like an Arga oven, a range cooker. You'll get this cooker, but you'll get a wall oven too." So I can only put 2 and 2 together and get 5 here. They're making reference to having some kind of new kitchen or new kitchen appliances, probably a cooker based on what's been said so far. Where am I holding? How much? Okay. Here we go. Oh yeah. Because I was looking at your aura, which is yellow and blue, by the way, mainly around the head. They said this man that's come in, had an engineering mind himself, very clever with his hands, is saying you're going to be, which implies it hasn't completely all happened yet, very much in demand for helping to chair groups, committees, and there's going to be a lot more involvement in local community events and groups unless you choose otherwise. It's almost like everybody wants a bit of your help, or can you help with this, or what do you think of that? And it's like a local initiatives, and it could be anything. I'm seeing neighbourhood watch scheme in my head, but committees, charity fundraisers, Rotary Club, anything of a charitable nature. So one thing you're not going to be is bored. Also, I saw like a thing of mayor wares, so I'm going to put, again, reading into it because some of the clairvoyance is quite cryptic, that it's maybe things to do with the town or parish council. Okay? The bungalow construction site, I'll govern, but you will, I'll get you all of them to, that's a message for this lady. What it is as well, this man, I can't remember if his father or grandfather is, he wants to talk about you, not himself. He wants to give you a pat on the back for all the good that you do for so many people. He says you probably know inside you're very humble, you don't blow your own trumpet, but you know, I'm not here to preach about anything, but karma, if you do a good deed, it does come back, and equally if you dish it out, it comes back as well, and if it's not in this lifetime, it'll be in the next one. But he said you deserve oh okay, thank you, a pat on the back for all the work that you do, because it comes from the heart. You're not doing it for any egotistical reason or to look at me, or there's none of that. Right, he says, please, will you write your book? Is it like a book that needs to be written, partly about your own journey, your own life story, not far off an autobiography, but also about your memories, like family history or memories and old quips and sayings. Do you? Well, I can't keep up with him. He said, you've got good wit as well. There should be Spike Milligan in my head for whatever reason, but books of wit. And he's saying you have to dig that lot out amongst all the Reader's Digest books and National Geographic. And this man was very much like you, because when they show me a globe of the world, you know, those ones you can spin round, and he's saying worldly wise, well travelled, an interesting culture. And this man was the same. I don't know who Jeff is. I don't know who Jeff is, but someone's yelling Jeff in my head. What else? Oh yes, you should have. Oh, are you? Oh, crikey, hold on. You should have a round-faced wristwatch belonging to the man that is linking to you, or you were given it. You might not have it anymore, and it's not like a Rolex or Breitling or something worth loads of money, but it's a sentimental value, and it's a round-faced wristwatch. In fact, you should have more than one. One's got a leather strap on it, and the other one's got a metal clasp, it feels like. But I'm more interested in the one with the leather strap, because he's pointing at his watch as if to say, I like good timekeeping. You know, if you were late, even by a second, it would not have gone down too well. That your dad's? It's your dad, yeah. He's lovely. And he's also saying, he keeps yelling Jeff at me. Who's Jeff? Or what was Jeff or Jeffrey?
I don't know Jeff. There's a lot of things you said that relate to that.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe that's the next message. It might be that sometimes they start crowding in my head before I get time to finish what I'm saying the first time around. The thing about your dad as well, I'll say, is that he says that you know your dad's around. So you don't need me to tell you he's around, because one, you smell him, two, you get the sensation of being watched, three, you talk to him mentally, sometimes I know you're here, Dad, and four, he says, I've turned up in dreams. Now, until such time, they can get a colander on my head and wire me up to a TV screen so you can see what's going on. The spirit world, they will try to link to people. It's not that they come out at night, which is why they're coming in dreams, it's just our brains are less busy in the evening, and we're more winding down, so that's why people sometimes try seeing or dreaming about the people they've loved and lost. And when they come through in dreams, you always see them healthy, happy, not sick, ill or dying. We saw them if they were bereaved, when they were ill. That's part of the bereavement process. That's my understanding of it anyway. I'm also looking through a pair of binoculars now, So whether he liked bird watching, and I feel like I'm like, and he says I wasn't a nosy neighbour, I like bird watching. And,
No, he was not having a competition.
oh right, okay, is that what it is? I don't know, I was confused. I thought about bird watching or what am I doing? But hold on, he's also showing a stretch of water with bird. But where is this that you've been, or you remember going with him? There's like a bird hide, literally. I'm looking at that as well. There's water, it's wetlands or something. Wetlands.
Yeah, it used to go towards the ducks.
Okay. Yeah, showing the stretch of water. And I think your dad, to be fair, I mean, like I said, I'm not here to preach about anything. I don't follow any religion or sect or cult or whatever. But he said, I knew there was more to all this than life itself. I think he knew. Even not sometimes people come through, they're complete atheists and whatever, and like devout Christians turn up before an hour Jubilee, they'll be throwing holy water at me and all sorts. But he kind of knew there was more to life than life itself. And even Einstein said we'd be foolish to believe this is the only universe that exists. Now you've got me on that one because I don't know. He says, do you fancy a game of patience? But what I've actually got is just a deck of playing cards. And I don't know if that's you that does that or him that does that, but he said, do you fancy a game of patience? And your dad comes across very much as a quite a calm, got it all together, calm, intelligent man. But if things got on his nerves, he said, I could cuss like a trooper under his breath, not in the company of women because he was a proper gentleman. But poor driving, poor timekeeping, sloppy manners, chewing. One thing I think his pet hate was people talking and eating at the same time. That really wouldn't have gone down too well. And he says, and not being too miserly. You know, he said, I had to watch my pennies. I did his own accounts and bookkeeping. He said, I can't say that. He said, I didn't trust any. Especially the tax man. Anyway, real character. He's lovely. There's a lady also there that there's a bit of a height difference. She's probably only about 5'2", I'd say. Can't get a word in edgeways. And she said, I stuck around for longer. I think she would have probably been into her, feels like 80s or like later 80s till she crossed over. Is that your mum, I take it?
It sounds books now.
Okay. She's a little lady. She says, I tolerate, I will get rid of other people by the way, but I don't want to keep them up. I did tolerate his moods quite well. She said, just give him some food, give him a tea, keep him happy that way. But she wants you to know, okay, thank you. She wants you to, I believe you, when they grab hold of my hand, it's because you were with them at the time of passing. You're with your mum at the time of passing. She wants you to know that, and she wants you to know, she said, oh, what, my boys. So was there two brothers as well? She wants you to know I was glad my boys were there. Is one of them gone down under now to Australia?
No, neither of them.
Travel.
To travel?
Oh,
Queensland. Okay.
not my brothers.
Okay. But her main thing is, you Rosie? Was her, don't tell me too much please, but was her first letter of her name an M? Or one? Okay, don't worry about that, I'll come on to them in a minute. But she wants you to know she was there. And I've got to give you a Victoria sandwich cake, by the way. Homemade, jam, sugar on the top, you know. She's a good cook. And the lady next to you, she thought, both of them, but your, I believe, mother-in-law, is this what she's talking about? Okay, loved you dearly, you know. She said, I could be challenging sometimes. This lady loves you, even if you didn't know her that well or think you didn't know her that well. She thinks an awful lot of you.
I always found love from her anyway.
Yeah, she's like, try to treat you like my own. Oh, what is it with these pets tonight? And I've got a black and white cat here as well that's just turned up. Is that yours?
No, what's it called?
somebody has lost a black and white cat.
I'm not from, I live in Malvern, you see. Would you believe it? Guess my address? Aldwych Road. Seriously, it is. WR14 4EP, check it out. Anyway, but then there's some, well, that cat's not on the earth plane anymore then. Unfortunately, things been
A cat.
a cat. This is just this one particular black and white cat that's gone AWOL. Was it a kitten, the one that's gone missing? Young. Okay, all right. I've got someone's cat here anyway. Oh, hello. Bending down again. Midway through the conversation. One, them upstairs think you're a star. And secondly, and they might not be the only person that does this in the room, when you're looking up at the night sky thinking they're watching over me, guess what they are? Anything you want to ask for you or them?
I'd just like to know that they're calm and happy. I'd like to know. I'd really like to know whether that was their first life on Earth or not.
No, it wasn't their first life on it. In fact, if I do past life regression, and a lot of people have had not just one lifetime but many before this. And the giveaway, and this applies to everybody, if you've got like or dislike for a certain country, a talent that cannot be explained logically, phobias or fears, or a fascination for an epoch in time, that's usually a giveaway to a previous lifetime. And sometimes you're a male, you might be a different gender in a previous lifetime. One of mine was in Switzerland. I still live on a hill now. I have blonde hair then. This is out of a bottle at the moment. But still, it's interesting how things unfold. Unless they are always. In the 20 odd years I've been doing this now, and the thousands of messages, not that I remember a great deal, there's only been 2 people over there that haven't been calm, and that's because the people here were so stressed out and couldn't let them go. They don't get earthbound, they're not stuck, even if they took their own lives over there, they don't, wandering around wailing, trying to find their way home. It's just that when we're happy, they're happy. If we're down, they feel it too. Does that kind of answer your question?
Yes, thank you very much.
Anything else you wanted to? Are you in this bungalow at the moment?
Yeah, we're in the bungalow. We don't have a conservatory, we're in a bungalow.
It's all glass at the back.
It's
Ah,
all
okay,
glass,
quite
isn't
a
it?
lot of glass.
Thank you for the clarification. Have you got your range cookie yet?
I don't want one. I don't want to cook all my life.
But yeah. Why cooking with a takeaway?
I know what you might be.
Okay, just ovens.
It's just I feel like the smell is father and it's tobacco all the time.
Yeah.
And it kind of gets inside me, it kind of chokes me almost. You know what
Just
I mean?
when that happens, just say to him, we know you're here, just tell him to step back a
I know
bit.
it's it. I know it. I wasn't sure it was George.
Ah, it's a Jeff name, because I thought it was Jeff.
No,
G-E-O.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
George.
so it's Jeff. Okay, I get you now.
I know he's around, I feel it a lot, awful lot.
Yeah, if they step inside you, because sometimes they get me too emotional to the point I want to start crying because they're so calm, like this lady. They really want to give the love back and say I'm okay and all this. They make me cry, and when they do that, I can't work. So I have to tell them, that I know you're here, George, but you just need to give me a bit of breathe. It's almost like if someone's standing in your face. Just stand back a bit. You don't want to get rid of them. Just say
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Okay.
I'll write down. Oh, hold on. Where are we? I didn't get a chance to write it all down, but there you go anyway, there was some of it. Read my writing, you're doing well. Okay, I'll do one more, then I'll come up for a breather. Where are we? This is a question. Oh, yeah. Oh no. Turn it up. between connecting to the lady in the pink, and then just as I'm about to start, I noticed there's a man stood behind the lady with the purple jumper at the back of the room. I say it's purple, but yeah, you. I think I haven't written anything down for you because I didn't get a chance. Tell me to start with her. Okay, I will come to you because I've written a load of stuff. Coming to you first though, please, lady in a plum colour jumper. Because he's still there now. As clear as I can see you, there's a man stood to your left-hand side waving frantically at me. And he's going, go here, because she always goes to these things and never gets the, I don't think that, say he always goes to this. I think you're wanting to hear from, I'll come on to find detail in a second, one particular person, possibly a father, not sure. But they kind of just describe this man I can see first. He's got dark hair and, oh, I have to go by, it feels more hazily green eyes, possibly brown eyes. I haven't got blue or green. And he's saying, he's given me the very much impression I didn't get a chance to say goodbye. I was here 1 minute and pretty much gone the next. He's given the month of December as being significant, possibly around the 11th, give or take 2 days, 12th, 13th, 10th or 9th, which is, when I say significant, it's usually a birthday passing, it's on a wedding anniversary in December for sure. I'm seeing a robin right sat on top of your head, it's perched there, and this is his sign, the man from the spirit side wanting to link to you, and it's not always who we expect first to say to you. Who's John then, please?
My mother's brother.
Your brother?
My mother's brother.
Mother's brother, your Uncle John, okay. But this man has just been grabbing my attention and saying, to go to you.
Jackie, my brother Jackie.
Your brother?
My brother Jackie, but we call him John.
Okay. He's saying you could do with a good massage on your back at the moment. I've got muscular tension between my shoulder blades, and it feels like we could do with seeing all these people that go crunch, crunch, crunch and get rid of all the tense ligaments or whatever out. And he's also saying her knees are not that good either at the moment, but I think that's to do with the weather. Take 2 seconds, just bear with me. I'm stood in front of a semi-detached property at the moment. There's a little bit of garden at the front. It feels like, I can't see the back garden, but it feels like there's more going on at the back than at the front. That's my house, what is it? There's a door at the front, but I also feel there's a side door as well, okay, towards this property. I'm more interested on the, as I'm standing looking at this house, I feel more drawn to the right-hand one than the left, or the property to the right than the left. Anyway, what they're getting at is, when are you going to start the decorating? Because it feels like there's a lounge that needs sorting out, a lounge that needs decorating, on about starting in if it's not you, but one of the girls sat with you, starting in the hallway. Is that more to do with you? Is this your home? Are you in this like a semi or terraced?
Semi.
And you're on the right hand side of, right, okay, ignore what I just said to you, listen to this. When are you going to start? It's almost like you want to sand down the banister to the staircase, or there's been all kinds of things been meaning to be done, and it's I feel like you need a good old trip round Dunelm, and then there's sort of redecorating going on. And if your lounge is currently like if it's not like a tan, like a brown, plum, the sort of winter is a big word, autumnal colours, then you'll probably change. Have you got a leather settee at the moment?
Yeah.
Okay, is it like a brownie colour?
No.
Right, okay, well I've got some kind of leather settee that I'm sort of sticking to at the moment, but still. There's a chap that's just jumped in as well, and I have to be quick, because I promised I'd try to keep my timekeeping better today, who kept pigeons, did pigeon racing.
Budgies.
Very good.
Kept budgies.
Budgies, I could hear birds. Anyway, that's the main thing. You sure there's no outside aviary?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, because I can hear birds, but they come from outside, so that's why I should make it simple. I assumed it was pigeons. Anyway, They're saying love to pull. Pull must be on the earth plane. Love to pull. 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 Could be puller, but I've got love to pull.
Pauline.
Pauline.
Pauline. Okay, thank you. What else have I got to say? Oh, they're all jumping in at last week, so now I've got to come up for break. I might have to carry on where I left off after the break, I think. But there's a lady linking dearly to you, who was a woman of faith, and basing that on the fact that she's shown a gold cross around her neck. And so, I'm not saying she necessarily went to church every Sunday or preached the Bible and whatnot, but she did have a faith. And in fact, she might have been quite religious. God will save us. So, well, the devil, God don't get us, somebody must. but she's a lady of faith. That's she says she makes reference to having either arthritis or rheumatism in her fingers, which stopped me doing my favourite things. I think she would have liked to have done needlecraft or knitting and things like that, but then couldn't. And she's quite a bit of an older lady when she crossed over. I wouldn't be surprised if she got past 100 or close to 100. No, you know what? Okay, on that basis, because I promise to keep time here. Anything you want to ask me at the moment? That's not necessarily it. I'll probably have to come back. But anything you want to ask for you at the moment? Not going anywhere.
It sounds like my uncle come through to us, but we was more hoping to hear from my dad.
Right, your dad. Okay. Don't tell me nothing. Does your uncle fit the description of the dark hair chap waving frantically saying over here? Okay, because he's still there now. I'll ask him, because I can't make him come through, but I can ask him to go and get your dad, right? I take it, is Mum on the earth plane? Right, then I know exactly where he is with your mum. So I'm going to ask your uncle.
My mum's there.
No, you want to hear from your dad,
Yeah.
but your mum
Yeah.
must be.
This is my mum.
Yeah, but this lady
My mum is
Their mum.
is living.
No.
No, right, okay, well I need to go and get a pair of them then. There'll be usually if someone's here, they'll be with them. I haven't tuned into your dad yet or asked anything about that, so I'll ask them. I can't make them come up, we can give it a good go. Actually, yeah, okay. I'll come up for a breather, dive for the bar, dive for the let's get some air in here.